Hey everyone, and welcome back for week 13 of building Air Kit and Lego. Before I begin, I do want to say thank you to everyone who's watched last week's update video. I'm very happy with the success of that video, and I'm also really happy to see that people are still excited for Air Kit. I know I am. I'm so happy to be back and continuing to work on this mock. So in this week's update video, I work on mapping out where more of the walls and one of the Imperial turrets will be, as well as I did a little bit of a redesign to the landing pad, and also I worked more on the groundwork, the coral landscaping around the landing pad. And so that's really all the progress that I make in this week's segment. I want to save working on the Imperial turret for next week's update video, which will be the last one before my break at home ends. I have the parts to build one of the Imperial turrets, but again, I want to save that for next week's update video. So without any further delay, let's jump right into this week's update. So I'm going to begin this update video by first making some edits to this landing pad. I mentioned in last week's update video that I wanted to make a few more edits to this landing pad just so it looks more accurate to what it looks like in the mobile app game. And mainly I want to swap out the light bluish gray tiling to dark bluish gray tiling, and actually got the parts in to do that for last week's segment, but I wanted to focus on moving this landing pad first to its correct position. So now that it's in its final location, I can finally make edits to it. And the reason for this is I'm looking at reference pictures that I printed out over here, this one right here and this one over here. And this one is a little bit blurry, but you can see that it looks more dark gray than it is light gray, especially in this one because the frigate that's on it is mainly light gray, and you can see what it's on. It's on like a dark gray surface. And so that is why I'm going to swap out the light bluish gray tiling to dark bluish gray tiling. Since I already have the parts right here, I'm going to go ahead and swap out the colors right now. So here is the recolored landing pad, and I really like the dark bluish gray versus the light bluish gray color, and I especially love the white tiling because I think it just pops out more when you have a darker background, I guess you can say. And I really like how I changed the numbering from 07 to 08. I was looking at reference pictures and there's not a whole lot, but there are some pictures that I found online that had 8 instead of 7, and although the pictures that I printed out, I can almost guarantee that this one says 7 even though you can't really see it, but I know this one for sure, this main one definitely says 7, and I found some online that actually said 8, so I thought why not just go ahead, give it a higher number. And also I kind of like the way this 08 looks versus the 07. So overall this landing pad is mostly complete. I'm going to add in the lights later on, probably not in this segment because it's not a big deal. I do, however, need to go back in and make some structural support to hold the top portion up, because since the inside of this is hollow, it kind of bends a little bit, so I want to change that and make sure it's perfectly flat. Overall, I'm really happy with the way this landing pad looks. It's kind of a drastic change, but I'm going to get used to it because I definitely like this new redesign of the top portion of the landing pad. And so moving on over here, so in this container I have all the parts that came from that huge bricklink order that I mentioned in last week's update video. And so it contains a lot of coral pieces, reddish brown pieces, and pieces to work on one of the Imperial turrets. So I'm going to go ahead and sort all the parts together and start working on the landscaping or the groundwork that goes around the edges of this landing pad. So I just finished removing all the coral and reddish brown pieces that were in a bunch of these bags inside this container right here, and as you can see I'm fully stocked on coral pieces as well as some reddish brown pieces that I put in separate bags. So since I have a decent amount of coral pieces, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the landscape around the landing pad. Hopefully I can mostly finish the groundwork on this base plate right over here. So during that time lapse, I was able to surround the landing pad with coral landscaping, and also I worked a little bit more on the coral edges that will go all the way around this MOC. I'm still experimenting with it. I'm not sure how I like it so far, but that's not something I need to worry about right now. In fact, I can probably say doing the edges till the end of this MOC series, or until I finish the majority of this MOC. But the main focus of that time lapse was surrounding the landing pad with coral pieces to make coral landscaping, and I'm just overall really happy with the way it looks. And so technically I'm almost done with a fourth of this MOC, which is kind of surprising in my opinion. I don't know, let me know what you guys feel about it in the comments. This landing pad is obviously this base plate is still not done. I still need to work on the walls over here as well as the edges, and also walls continuing down here as well. But for the most part, this base plate is almost complete, so I'm very happy with the way this looks, and especially with the new dark bluish gray colored landing pad against this coral landscaping. And as you can see, this right here is the cutoff mark, so right here starts this base plate over here, and so I pretty much covered this entire base plate with coral. So again, I'm just really happy with the way this looks, the landing pad and just the coral landscape. I can just imagine all four of these base plates just covered with coral, and it's gonna look so nice when it's complete. So next, what I'm going to do is finish plating off the edges over here with plates. I don't have enough coral bricks to surround the MOC, like as you can see over there, but I will try to plate off this area over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and also clean this area out right now. So I was able to finish all of the plating on this edge of the MOC, and so I also worked a little bit more on mapping out where some of the walls and the buildings are going to be. So starting off with the walls, like I said, I'm going to have the walls mostly surround the edges of this MOC except for this corner right here. So it's going to go all the way around and it will stop right there. But I really wanted a wall right in between the landing pad and this section over here. So I created this line using 1x3 black plates just going straight down to indicate where the walls are going to be. And so the problem with this is that normally, like over here, there's a 3-stud gap in between the pyramid wall structures. But if I'm going to have this wall going down inside the MOC or in the middle of the MOC, there's going to be a 2-stud gap instead of the normal 3-stud gap. I don't think it will detract from the overall MOC, so it'll be the same spacing from this corner to where that is, and then where this corner wall will be all the way down to this wall right here. So everything will be even except for that 2-stud gap, but I don't think it will detract from this overall MOC. I really want to have this wall going right in between, so that way the landing pad, it's like it's in its own section of the Imperial base. So this right here is the outline of where the Imperial turret will be placed, and so this is kind of like the bottom base outline. It's going to be an octagon shape, and each side is 4 studs long. And you might be thinking that it is going to be small because it kind of looks small compared to the scout tower base right over here, but there will be protrusions sticking out of all the sides, and as I build up and wider, it'll look a lot bigger. So overall, I think you guys, when it's complete, you're going to like the way this Imperial turret will be. But this is where I'm thinking the first one will be placed. It's kind of on this corner base plate, but it also shifts a little bit over to this one. And since I plan for this MOC to be modular, it won't like permanently stay there. Even though I do want to have lights running through it, and I did design it to where I could add lights to it. So that might be a little bit of a problem, but we'll deal with that when we get there. Or I could just shift it a little bit over here instead of having it be flush with this wall that's going to be right over here. For right now, I think I'm going to place the Imperial turret here. I do want to have a second one, but I do not know where I'm going to place it. I know one's going to be here. I might have another defense that's not an Imperial turret somewhere in this area of the MOC. And also over here, I also want to include a barracks, but I'll discuss that in future segments when it comes time to actually build it. But I'm currently in the designing phase of the barracks, but we're not going to discuss that right now. So if I do have another Imperial turret, I think it'll either go in this area over here, or I'm still thinking about moving the scout tower to the center of this base plate and having another turret replacing where that scout tower is. So let me know down in the comments what you think of that layout. I know that might be a lot, but really it's just having another turret replacing the scout tower and the scout tower moving over to the middle of this base plate right over here. But really this is all the progress I was able to get done this week. It may not seem like a lot. I am running low on parts to build more of those walls, so I really need to order those soon in order to start working on a lot more of the walls. This is all the progress that I can show you guys in this week's segment. Let's go ahead and wrap up this video. So this is going to conclude this week's update video. Let me know down in the comments what you think of my mock so far. I love the progress that I made on this week's segment. I love the redesigned top portion of the landing pad, like the 08 instead of the 07. I know that's such a little detail, but I think it will go a long way. So definitely let me know down in the comments what you think of the progress that I made in this week's segment. I'm very happy that I now know where most of the walls will be. It's just a matter of getting the parts in to start working on it. I know I mentioned in last week's update video that I'm really running low on the 1x1 translucent red plates, which goes a long way to building those wall structures. So for next week's segment, I plan to start and finish one of the Imperial turrets. And earlier in this video, I already showed you where that will be placed. I'm planning on having one more. I'm not sure where that will be. Maybe on the blank base plate, or maybe somewhere in that little area right next to the landing pad. But that second Imperial turret I don't need to worry about for right now. I'm very excited to start building that. I think you guys will like it as well. I designed it in a way to where I can also include lights in it. I'm not sure if I have enough LED lights to put inside the turret, but if not, that's something I can do later on. So that's my plan, and that's all the progress I made for this week's segment. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like what I do, go ahead and subscribe and click the bell icon so you won't miss out on any future videos, and I'll see y'all in the next video.